Next we are turning to the melodic elements. Let's start with copying the kick, since we can use the body with the oscillator here. We don't need this click section for our melodic elements, but this makes sense. Actually here we want to connect the step sequencer. Because we already have all the float stuff in there. Yeah, we can keep this too in case we want to change delay settings. The root node and scale we also have to connect, of course, so everything is in tune with our kick and with other melodic elements. And we connect our trigger inputs. Here we can copy our stereo section. Maybe change this. And for melodic elements, we can probably go a little bit higher. And we can already connect this to BPM to seconds. And next we only need our melodic mixer, the mixer for the synth elements or the instruments. Yeah, that makes sense. We need a different pattern here. Promote to graph input. Let's call it melody pattern. Connect this array too. And give this some elements. And start here. Let's just put some values in. Let's make it like a climax melody. Like that, should work. Everything is connected here. And here the float we get at this point. Oh, I just see we didn't really connect the values here. Of course we want to multiply this, so sorry for that. We're going back to the hi-hat mixer for a second. We want to connect the floats we get from our hi-hat pattern. These are should be gain values, so we connect this to our gain inputs. And now we multiply the envelope we are getting with this pattern. Yeah, you already hear the melody here. Switch this down for a second. So we have some volume differences in the hi-hat pattern. Actually want this get a little bit more regular. Actually, I think I like the completely regular pattern better than this. But let's keep it in. It's like, gives it a little bit more organic feel. And back to our first melodic element. Here we want to connect the elements we get from the melody pattern to the frequency of our oscillator. And we can use the same elements again, envelopes, ladder filter, maybe here use a different filter. We want more high frequency content. Then let's try it with the bandpass first. Yeah, this connects to our gain. We want a little bit longer time here, slower decay. Yeah, we can use a map range, maybe from 0 to a low number. Oh no, actually we have to connect this to the note input and the frequency to our sine oscillator. So this is scaled, first of all connected to the note quantizer, but then here scaled by our scale that we set here. So in case we change the scale, our melody is going to follow the scale. This is pretty important. Okay, I think this should work. Bandpass, we use a little effect, a wave shaping effect, and this amount we connect to this envelope. And yeah, let's try it like that. Make it a slow rise, and maybe we can try to connect it to the resonance just to play around a little bit. And let's try this out. Might be extremely loud, so we set a low value here. Put this down. Oh, we don't need this so much down. Only need the melody mixer here. for the melodic part that we connect the gain envelope to the first mixer, so these are a little bit different, but that's okay. For the things like the hi-hat, we don't want this. Then make it a little bit slower here. Sometimes I'm getting artifacts here when playing around with the envelope settings, and you have to be a little bit careful. And when you have some signals here longer than the gain signal, this filter is producing some artifacts when it's shorter than the envelope put on the So. Another signal, another filter, band pass, and you can put it in here. This is probably without the envelope. Yeah, I thought it's a little bit loud, but that's okay. It's just a low pass right now, but when we set it to all pass, it's going to be a little bit louder. Not necessarily, this is set very low. Let's try with some modulated and parametric EQ. Maybe use, well, we can try the same. sometimes this is produced by... No, not in this case. Let's just note how for our envelopes. Let's listen to it without the stereo delay. The trigger compare wrong, so it was triggering at this point when you had all the zeros. That was the problem. You still have a little bit clicky artifacts in there, but you might be able to correct that changing some of the attack and decay settings. I think we can go higher on the wave shaper. Jetzt the click. Yeah, let's leave it like that. If you make your own music, of course you can zone in on the problems you get here. Envelopes sometimes lead to some strange artifacts if you have different settings, because the filters and wave shapers react to it, of course, when you have it connected. But in general you have some slight attack on the sound, you have a sine oscillator tuned to your scale and also tuned to your melodic pattern, And you have some delay section here and some filter wave shaper setup. Yeah, that's about it. Let's leave it simple as that. Oh, at this point I can show you one more thing. Maybe let's right here. Can make a little panning. Let's turn this down a little bit. And we can, do we have a range that makes sense? Now we want a different range here. So map range again. And from 90 to 270. Connected to the angle. And of course we want to connect this again. Yeah, for some reason that just makes our click more pronounced. So let's take it out. Yeah, I'm not completely sure. Maybe the filter modulation also leads to some artifacts in some cases. Not completely sure about that, but let's leave it like that for the moment. Can maybe come back later and fine tune it a little bit more. So we have our first melodic element. And we duplicate it. Reconnect the BPM and trigger input again. Promote this to another graph input. Call this pattern. Connect this to our get float from array. And put in some values. You see the input section in Metasounds is getting slower the more elements I have in my patch. I'm not sure how much of that is related to the complexity, the growing complexity of the patch, and how much of it is will be changed for the final release that is not early access anymore. Maybe it's some kind of bug. Maybe the different mixer arrays and other note numbers play a role in this, or the amount of modulation you have in your patch. Not completely sure about that. I noticed it changes depending on the complexity of the patch and not as much related to the number of inputs that you have. So this is a little bit strange for me, but the more elements you put in your patch, at least in the early access version of Metasounds, the slower it will react to the inputs. At least you see the actual change in the patch is pretty fast, but the GUI update is slow. So you see it takes a moment for it to update, and in that time you don't see any other changes you make. So this is a little bit strange, but it's not a big problem. pattern. Let's put some very simple pattern in, and let's make this a very slow thing. And here for this we also use some envelopes, but let's delete a few. Keep our grain envelope. Make this very slow. Maybe, yeah, let's try it with 1. And we actually using a little bit different setup here. Let's stay with the sine oscillators, but we want to yeah, this we can put out for the moment. And we put a mixer in here. 2 channels are enough. Connect this, maybe the high pass here. And what we are doing is we are going to give it some type of movement, kind of modulation, using a multiply by float on the frequency of the second oscillator. And try to go higher or lower for that. And we are going to put an LFO, actually the first LFO in this patch. And for the frequency we can actually tune it to our BPM. So based on the BPM and this value, we are going to switch between these two oscillators just to give patch some movement. Frequency are both connected. Let's go lower here.
What are you laughing at? Something I said or did, perhaps?
No, really, it's nothing at all.
Make it even slower. Put our second or first speed element on again. Let's use 2 delays, one with a very slow setting and one with a higher setting. That's too slow. Oh no, I actually like that better. Let's get this, another oscillator, but not a sine this time. Let's make it saw. Go into filter, and maybe with a band pass, go into this mixer, frequency. We want to be tuned. And this we want to be affected by our envelope gain. Maybe we use a little bit of the upper frequency spectrum too here. It's maybe a little bit too much. Let's try the LFO first. Of course, we can also use an envelope here. But I think the LFO makes sense here. It's just this, connect this. do some resonance settings so we get some good resonance movement. That's about it for our second beat element. And last but not least, we want a bassline. So let's make a simple bassline here. We want to keep most of the sub signal of the bassline in mono. So let's connect this and leave some room here for the sub bass. Actually, we can use just sine here, and for the rest we can use a saw or maybe a square oscillator. And the delay section is part of that we can use for our stereo bass signal. So the sine we're going to keep completely mono. And the stuff we can delete. Maybe LFO we can use for something. Some of our filtering. faster attack times and also faster release times. Switch this to 0 first and check out our sub bass. And of course we need a pattern, so we promote this to input. Call this bassline pattern and give this some elements. Yeah, now it takes a really long time. Is it getting there? Yeah, 8. Very good. And let's put a basic pattern in there. Yeah, let's make it going downwards. Of course, we have to connect it to our get float array. Yeah, just we leave in for now. The scale we have to connect and the root node. And the trigger repeater and BPM of course too. This is way too slow. that's what I mentioned earlier, when the envelope times are different and the gain settings are shorter, sometimes you get some strange artifacts. This doesn't have an input. here so you get some strange artifacts. Let's make it a simple offbeat pattern. I'm not sure why I put it in like that. Okay, I think that's it for our beat elements. Okay, now we can change some of the input values. Actually, we can make this all a little bit louder. It's far from clipping, I would say. But as I said, you really have to be careful with the volume and Metasounds. Get artifacts pretty fast. I think I deleted my BPM mode. melody a little bit faster. That's only the delay here. And this one. Maybe this one too. Yeah, now you can hear, here we get some problems with the envelope timing. It's funny in this case, but when you change the BPM too much, sometimes you also have to adjust your envelope settings. Of course, in theory, you could connect all this to your BPM nodes and just put some multipliers in between, but that takes some time to figure out the correct values. Let's change it all back. This we leave for a moment. Let's make a different pattern. chillstep or dubstep pattern. Let's go back to drum bass tempo. Just bassline to be slower again. Again, delete the BPM node. Very strange. Not this one. This one. Now we have a nice halftime like beat. Or maybe let's make it a different one. put some other input in here. You can also of course do it with different types of trigger, compare, set to different volumes, values, or based on the counter number. Yeah, so based on the count number you can also do it, but there are multiple ways to do stuff like that. Metasounds is a pretty complex system, already in early access, and maybe over the next few weeks or month I'm going to dive into it a little bit more and yeah, use some of these more complicated ideas to make, for instance, some more interesting wobble bass lines for dubstep or something like that, with a more complex trigger setup. And if you have any ideas for future tutorials, I'm always open to ideas. Just write it in the comments or send me a mail on some social media site. Yeah, I'm happy to look through ideas, and I already have some ideas for new tutorials on my own, but please send it to me if you would like to learn about some aspects or not sure how to use some notes or how to build a basic track and element or do some specific sound design. I'm also planning to do some sound design tutorials related to game sound effects and ambience sound effects and stuff like that. So I have a lot of ideas and a lot of stuff I want to do and want to learn myself, of course, and want to do for my own games and stuff I'm doing in Unreal Engine. So there's a lot of stuff to come, and please write me a note if you like the tutorial, if you want some future tutorials about specific aspects and so on. And also you can of course comment if you like or dislike the tutorial. I'm happy to check all the comments and maybe reply to it. And yeah, I would say that's it for today. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned some things, and if you're a specialist in Metasounds or Unreal Engine or Modular synths, maybe you had the opportunity to smile or laugh a little bit about some of the hiccups I had while doing this little patch. Yeah, see you next time, guys. Bye.